For this explainer, we're doing something a little different. We're actually going to pull back the curtain and show you the blueprint, the literal architecture we use to build every single explainer you see.
So let's just start with the big question, right? The one that drives everything we do. How in the world do you take a really complex subject, something dense with research and data, and turn it into something that's not just clear, but actually fascinating?
Well, the final result might feel a little like magic, but I promise you it's not. It's architecture. Think about it. You wouldn't build a house without a detailed blueprint, and you can't build a clear explanation without a deliberate, structured plan. Every single piece has a purpose.
And hey, this slide right here, this is a perfect example of one of our core principles in action. Always give you, the audience, a map. So here's our plan for today. We're going to start with the foundation, then build the framework, furnish it with content, and then apply the final polish. This way you always know exactly where we are and where we're going.
So let's dive into Section 1, laying the foundation. Because before a single word gets written or a single graphic gets designed, we have to know what we stand for. Every good structure needs to be built on solid ground.
That foundation for us starts with a very specific persona, the wise mentor. I want you to picture your favorite university professor, someone who was not only an absolute expert, but who also genuinely wanted you to succeed. That's the voice we aim for. Authoritative, for sure, but also kind and encouraging. We are here to guide, not just to lecture.
So, what's the main goal of this mentor? It's definitely not just to throw facts at you. The real mission is to spark your intellectual curiosity. We want to make complicated stuff feel accessible, maybe even fun, without dumbing it down. The hope is that when our explainer ends, your journey of learning is actually just getting started. Okay, so with our philosophy set in stone, we can move on to Section 2, building the narrative framework. This is where we lay out the unshakable rules of structure. This is the skeleton that holds everything together.
We follow 4 steps that are pretty much non-negotiable for us. First, a direct start. No cliches, no today we're going to dive deep into, we just get right to it. Second, the content map. This means the structure of our source material becomes the structure of our explainer. Third, the audience guide, which you already saw. And fourth, we always end with a synthesizer conclusion, just to lock in the main points.
And I really want to emphasize that content map idea. We take it so seriously that it's become an unbreakable rule. It is strictly forbidden to reshuffle, merge, or omit headings from the source. We believe that fidelity is paramount, because a lot of the time, the structure is part of the story.
So, the foundation is laid, the framework is up, now it's time to furnish the house. This brings us to Section 3, furnishing with clear content. This is all about how we handle the information itself.
Our number one principle, our North Star, is this. Maximum clarity is always more important than maximum brevity. Look, it's easy to make things short, but if making it short makes it confusing, we failed. True understanding is the goal, not speed.
And here's what that looks like in practice. Our goal is always to explain, not just to quote. For instance, if a source uses a term like Keynesian economics, just quoting it leaves you hanging if you don't already know what it is. Explaining it, saying it's a theory that advocates for government spending during a recession, that provides real value. Our job is to be an active guide. Beyond just clarity, there are 3 other principles we stick to. First, depth and completeness. We present all the main concepts. We don't just cherry-pick the easy stuff. Second, fidelity. If we add any extra info to help clarify, it has to be rigorously checked against the source. And third, academic objectivity. We're always very careful to distinguish between what's an established theory and what's just a hypothesis.
All right, we've built the house and we've furnished it with high-quality stuff. Now for the last step, applying the final polish. This is all about the style choices, the paint, the trim, that give our explainers their consistent look and feel.
Visually, our guide is super strict. We use a limited academic color palette. Our graphics are all clean, flat design or line art. The background is standardized so everything feels connected. And you probably notice what we don't use. No stock images, no humanoid animations. Every choice is made to increase focus, not create distractions. And our audio style is just as deliberate. The voice should be warm, calm, and confident. That's the wise mentor again. The language is precise, no ums or uhs. The music is always quiet and in the background, just there to help you concentrate. And sound effects are a no-go, unless they're absolutely essential. It all serves the same goal, clarity.
So when you put all of these architectural pieces together, The philosophy, the rigid structure, the principles for clear content, and that final polish, what do you get? Well, the result is an explainer that's built with precision, designed from the ground up for clarity, and, most importantly, intended to spark that curiosity we talked about.
We've just handed you our architectural plans. This is the exact blueprint for how we turn complexity into clarity. And so, the final question really isn't for us, it's for you. Now that you have the blueprint, what will you build?